Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Tish Talks, where we have real open dialogue. The goal with Tish Talks is really to forge meaningful conversations so that people know that there are people that are just like them. They can see themselves in the stories that are being told. They can see what a true healing process looks like. They can see that it's not always pretty, right? Healing doesn't mean that it's prettier or it's a linear. I always get that mixed up, so I'm going to edit that it's linear, but instead it is truly an area where we all work and we develop in order to get to that healing or healed version of ourselves. And today we have Markela. I am super excited to have you today. We spoke and I was so moved by your story. And so I'm super excited and blessed that you were able to come on and talk to us a little bit. And so welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for reaching out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if you don't mind just introducing yourself so that my audience knows who you are.
Okay, well, I am Markela. I go by Markela Lachelle on most of all of my social sites. I am 27 years old. I am originally from Auburn, Alabama. I am a mother of a 5-year-old son, and I am a burn survivor. That's what most people know me from. I have gone viral on TikTok, Instagram. First started from just sharing my story of recovering and in the process of it, kind of showing the process of how everything was in the beginning until really now. And it's just a blessing to be here still, even after it all. And so I'm just really getting my story out there.
Awesome. So, I have to be honest, y'all. I have to tell you what I tracked Markela down. And so I think I initially saw your story or part of it. It might have been on TikTok. And your courage, I'll be really honest, is what drove me to you. And I went on, I'm trying to, again, I'm really new to TikTok. And so I'm like, oh, I can't send her a message unless we're following it. It was just, I don't even know why I couldn't send you a message. It might have been because we weren't connected. And so I was like, I've got to find you. And I just continued to find, to try and follow you. But when I heard your story and just the grace and the strength that you displayed, even though I knew that it had to have been really hard for you, I was like, I need her to talk to my audience, right? And so, if you don't mind, I'd love to just for you to share your story.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So in May of 2018, at the time I was a hairstylist. I had been doing hair since I was about 13 years old. I had a quick weave in my hair, and I had just got it taken out. I had asked my mom to help me with taking out the glue. And usually, when we're taking out glue for in your natural hair, we use oil sheen. Any
Yeah.
type of oil or anything will help slick the glue to come out. We had loaded my hair with oil sheen, and at the time I had like a huge fro. I think it was combed all the way. It was combed all the way down my face. It was touching my shoulders, and I went outside that day because I was like, I have a brush in my car,
Mhm.
and I went to go get a brush in my car. At the time, Alabama in May, it's like
100
90,
degrees.
90 something degrees.
Yeah.
It's hot. My car, it hadn't been open any that day, so it was trapped heat inside of the car as well. I have a cousin. I'm sure he's gonna watch this as well. Um, that is like a brother to me. We were together, and still really now together every day. And so he pulls up and he's like, "Hey, do you have a lighter in your car?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but it might be one." And then I'm like, "This one might be, an old one, probably doesn't even work." And so I was sitting in my car right at the steering wheel, and I flicked the lighter, and it just it ignited, and it
Mhm.
started right here in my face. It went all over my head. Um, Mainly because of all of the oil sheen that I had, and with the hair sticking to me, it just started to travel. I jumped out of the car. My cousin, he like took his shirt off, like trying to pat it out. But because of the heat and because of the amount of grease, and with him like patting, it was kind of like adding air to the fire.
Yeah.
So it began to spread and it got bigger. Um, at the time, I was just screaming, Jesus help me, Jesus help me, Jesus help
Yeah.
me. I didn't know anything else to say, but I did just immediately get out the car, stop, drop, and roll. Even getting out the car, adding that air, is just, I felt it just going all over me. He was trying his best, and then, he kind of panicked. He ran in the house, and he went and told my family, like, hey, you need to call 911. Keela's on fire. And at the time of that, I'm rolling, and I like opened my eye for like a quick second, and I saw the flames were like up to here. It was like a grill, like when someone just freshly lights a grill. And so I got taken back by actually seeing things, and I just laid there. And at the time of me laying there, it's not like I passed out, but I just talked to God. Everything went silent. I could barely feel the flames anymore. And I was just actually giving myself over to God. I just said, God, I cannot fight this anymore. I'm trying, I'm rolling. It's not working. It's getting worse. And, if this is what you want me to do, if this is the way that I'm leaving here, then I'm ready. And at the time, I had a neighbor. My neighbor had been there for only a few months.
Yeah.
He was a new neighbor, but we never got the chance to actually meet. Him and his wife would be at work. We will be gone.
Yeah.
I would be in there doing hair. Just so much was going on, so we never got to properly meet. From his point of view, he heard screaming and stuff, and he thought that me and my cousin were just, casually outside laughing and joking and playing.
Yeah.
And so then he said something just made him look at my car, and he saw flames and he saw smoke. And he said that he thought my car was on fire. So he initially went to the car to see, what was going on, and he saw me laying there with flames all over me. And he just instantly ran to his truck, and by God's grace, he had a thick blanket in the trunk of his truck. And he came to me and he smothered me with it. At the time, with me just laying out there, I'm surrendering, I'm giving myself over to God. And I just said, God, like, I have my son, just take care of my son. And, I can't do this. That was the very first time I ever heard God speak to me directly. And it was the most loudest but most quietest voice I have ever heard. And it was just a no. There were no extra words. It's just no. And as soon as I heard no, I just took a deep breath. And when I opened my eyes, I looked up, and my whole family was surrounded by me. They were surrounded by me like an intervention. And EMTs were coming up. My neighbor was standing there. He was holding the blanket. And I mean, it was just like a movie. And so by then, the EMTs, they were asking me so many questions. I was kind of laying on the ground like this. So they were asking me questions. I was like, I will answer any question you need. Just get me out the sun. Just get me out the sun. And it was, when I looked at my arms, it was like someone had peeled my skin all the way down to my fingertips. And it was just like peeling off. And my mom, she just wanted to touch. She wanted to do something. They were like, ma'am, no, don't touch her. And I was like, well, get me off of this ground. And so they were like,
You
ma'am,
had the wherewithal, like you knew.
yes, I was aware. I was completely aware. And, they were like, what's your name? What's this? And I was like, listen, I'll tell you everything. I just have to get up. So they were wanting to get me on the stretcher. And so I was telling them, like, no, don't touch me. Let me do it. And it was like, no, ma'am, like, you've been severely burned. And I was like, I know. But at the time, how it felt, and in the moment, I'm just like, I have to get up myself, because I feel like if someone touches me, I feel like they will stick to me. So they were like, are you sure you can get up? I got up and I laid on the stretcher, and everybody was like jaw dropping. They're like,
like I am right now, right? Like,
Yeah, they're like jaw dropping. But from my point of view, I'm someone who has never broken a leg or never had a serious injury. So I'm not knowing that, it's such an amazing thing that I'm aware and know what's going
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And so they get me in the ambulance and they take me to a park where the helicopter was because I had to get airlifted.
Hmm.
Once I got there, they asked me, we're going to put you in another stretcher to get in the helicopter. I told them again, no, don't touch me. I would
Hmm.
get over myself. And so when we got in the helicopter, we got in the air. It was the very first time I had ever been in the air. I used to be terrified of getting on a plane, of, just doing it. I'm a small town country girl. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm not getting on no
yeah,
planes.
yeah,
And I get on the helicopter and I'm like, I have no choice. For my
yeah.
life, I have to get on this plane. And so I get on the helicopter and we in the air. And I think that was the moment that I knew how precious life was. To just, I can't even believe I'm getting emotional,
It's
but
okay.
to see the world.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It is cleansing, right? It's okay. And it's okay to shed tears, right? And be vulnerable. And you have, that is what drew me to you when I saw you on social media.
Yeah,
Even during our initial conversation, I did not expect to walk away in the manner in which I did because you blessed me that day, right? I never compare what anyone else goes through. But again, that level of strength and courage that you display, my God, right? Even in this moment. And so
yeah.
it's okay.
I think now I've been more appreciative
Hmm.
than I was before.
Yeah.
I think I was only 22 years old at the time.
Yeah.
I had just had a baby. He was only one. He was turning one that next following week.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And um we lost his father while I was pregnant with him.
Mm.
And at the time, I was working on moving on. I
Yeah. Yeah.
had got accepted into my dream school, cosmetology, and I was moving in like 2 more weeks to go to Atlanta to do beauty school. So many things that I felt like I had placed for me. God had a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once I, got in that helicopter, that was something that, it was just amazing to know once you actually realize I was just in something so dramatic that I even was thinking like nobody's gonna believe me. Like
Mhm.
nobody's gonna believe that I was just literally on fire. And for almost 7 to 8, 9 minutes. And
Mm.
it started at my head. And on that helicopter, I'm like, I can see, I can smell, I can hear people, I can touch my fingers. It was like everything was just, I just was like, couldn't believe it. And so I had asked one of the EMTs there, and I was asking, and I'm like, can I ask you a question? He's like, yeah. And I said, am I still pretty? And
I
so
knew
he
you
just
said
kind of
that.
like chuckled at me. And I was like, it's kind of crazy to ask, but I feel like my face is melting and I have no idea what I look like right now.
Right, right.
And so he was like, actually, you're very beautiful, I must
Yes.
say.
Yes.
And so, I'm thinking like, yeah, you're just telling me that because, you have to tell me that at this
Right,
point.
right.
And so, I was like, do you have a phone? He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, can I see your camera? And he was like, are you promise you're not going to like pass out or anything? I'm like, no, completely not going to pass out. And when I looked in the camera and I saw that everything was still intact, it was just the skin that was
Yeah.
gone. I
Yeah.
was a little sad about my freckles, but I was like, hey, that'll come back. I was like, Lord, let it come back. But
Right.
everything else, I mean, I just knew it could be replaced. Like the
Absolutely.
skin would heal, but my nose wasn't deformed, my eyes, like everything was there. And so I asked them to take a picture, and we took that picture in the air. And when we landed, he was just basically telling me, like, good luck. Like, I've never had a helicopter ride like that with a patient ever before.
Yeah.
And God stopped my pain from the moment that I got in that helicopter until that next day. I didn't feel a thing. They had to still remove all of the rest of the old dead skin.
Yeah.
And they were kind of scared to touch me because a lot of people say that burns are one of those worst injuries and longest recoveries, but it's something that you don't see every day.
Yeah.
So they were just, like trying to be so gentle. And I'm just looking at them and I'm like, y'all are kind of more nervous than I am.
Yeah.
Let's, come on with it.
Yeah.
Let's go. And so I had told this one lady that I met there, her name is Olivia, never forget her. And I told her, I was like, can you play some music? That usually, helps me. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, let's play some music. And we were having karaoke in there. We were the loudest in the emergency room.
So you are dictating what they do right now.
I am, basically getting them in trouble at this point. This is definitely not a part of their job, but I just wanted to calm them and actually, make me feel more comfortable, because I feel like if they're calm, it'll help me.
Even in that moment, you are considering someone else, right? You hear that, right?
Yeah.
Even in that moment, you are considering their calmness. Girl.
It was something that I just, I was like, I need everybody around me okay.
Yeah.
And, my mom, she had to drive from Auburn to Birmingham, which is a 2-hour drive. It took me about an hour to get there. And so just so happened, Miss Olivia knew my mom because of her mom. And so my mom comes in panic, like, I'm looking for my daughter. And then she comes and she was like, Markela is your daughter? And she's like, yeah. She was like, oh, we're in the back having karaoke at the moment, but she's completely fine. She's completely fine. And she's like, okay, yeah, that sounds like my daughter. So we get into the ICU and everything, and I see my family for the first time. And, I was telling my mom, like, no tears. And she was just, I mean, she has been tough with me ever since then, because she always said that your strength has reflected on me.
Yes.
And, we have just been moving and grooving, and she recorded me having musical therapy. It was the first time I ever, knew of that. And we were singing on the musical therapy while they were, working with me. And my mom recorded it, put it on Facebook, and it went viral since then.
Wow.
And ever since then, I've just been, out telling my story and, feeling alive again.
Yeah. Whew. End of interview, right? It is just you are beautiful. So I want to say that, right? Because I know that you asked the during your helicopter ride that question. You are absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
You have a little boy, right? And where does your strength come from? Right? Where does it come from?
I think that my strength is 0 and his is 10, and he feels my 10. I have never met a kid that has just, I mean, like, he is so aware. It's like I never had to teach him much. It's like he's always been immediately understanding. The first time that I was able to see him after I had my accident in the hospital, it was right after his first birthday. And so he's coming in, and, I was like, he's going to be scared of me. He's not going to notice me. And he jumped right in that bed and wanted his mama. And he laid there and he waited to start walking until he got around me. He was like, yeah, I'm not going to walk until I see my mama.
Wow.
And, ever since then, he had to watch his mom basically become a child with him. I
Mm.
mean, I wasn't able to, I could barely walk. I could barely even eat, pick up things. I
Yeah,
could not dress myself, not bathe myself. I mean, I completely became an infant all over
yeah,
again.
yeah,
And, you know, he saw so many people take care of me that it was basically all that he knew. You
yeah,
know, it was always, I got to pick this up for mommy. I got to go get this. Like,
yeah,
he's always been like that. And, you know, that helped me turn it around to say, no, I'm your mother, let me do it for you. And
yeah,
he's still so helpful. And you know, now that he's such a big boy, he's
yeah,
still so hands on. But I've never seen a kid so in tune with his feelings, you know,
yeah.
really actually asking me, how are you, mommy? Like, how are you
Mm.
today? And I love yous are all over the place.
Yeah,
Just such an amazing kid. And, you know,
yeah,
without him actually realizing it,
yeah,
he just pours into me, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I just love him so much for it.
Mm, I love it. You know, there is someone that is watching, that will be watching this, right? And they are struggling with so many things. And really, the mission of Tish Talks is, so many times we have people that will see this version, right? But they don't know what it took to get to the other side. And they also don't know and realize that it's not always easy. So I thank you for being vulnerable and shedding your tears, right?
Yeah.
Because you get to see this is it.
Yeah.
What is that word of encouragement that you give to someone who is struggling with some level of pain or trauma, right? What is that word of encouragement that you give them?
My favorite of all time is this too shall pass.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
is something that is carved in me. You know,
yeah.
I truly believe that you have to get through it to get to it. Whatever it
Mm.
is that you're
Yes,
trying to get to, like
yes,
you have to, you know, and I am a true believer that, you know, when it's chaotic, it's always such a huge blessing at the end
yes,
of it.
yes,
And, you know, what a lot of people may not even know, even people who were close to me, I struggled for a very long time. And when people were around, I had the biggest smile on my face. When I'm
hmm,
in front of a camera, I had the biggest smile on my face. But those days where I were up for almost 72 hours, you know,
yeah,
no sleep. I mean, days where I would almost crawl to a bathroom and I'm in there just screaming and singing to the top of my lungs because I didn't know any other language. Like I just
yeah,
was helpless. You know, I truly knew that if I wanted to get to where I wanted to walk again, I wanted to use my hands, I wanted to, you know, feel like myself again, I
yeah,
had to get
yeah,
through it. I just
yeah,
had to get through it. You know, the days were going to be good, the days were going to be bad, but as long as I just kept pushing, kept going, you know, I knew that there was light at the end of that tunnel.
yes, yes,
And the fact that in my situation that I was saved,
yeah,
that told me that my mission is not done here.
mm,
You know,
yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't completed it and I still have a purpose.
yeah,
So anytime you're going to sleep and you wake up and you can see exactly where you are and
yeah,
feel that
yeah,
moment and that you're alive, you have so much more to do.
yeah,
And you know, you just have to keep pressing. This too shall
absolutely.
always pass.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said a couple of things, and I have to reiterate that. You said something, and I say something very similar, right? You've got to go through the pain, because the more you avoid it, those things will still creep up, right? You're going to
Yep.
still, there will be days at 5 o'clock, you can be at your happiest. And at 5:10, you are at your lowest again, right? It's that ebb and flow. It's you being in the valley, but then you being back on the mountaintop. It is okay. And what I will say to that is, it's what you're doing now. Don't hide from it, right?
Yeah.
You can't be afraid of it. And
Yep.
knowing that both vulnerability and strength can absolutely reside in the same space. And in knowing that you are that person that might be struggling, right? There is a purpose for your life today. And in knowing that. And, I truly, today is, and I still have a few questions for you.
Yeah. No
But
problem.
I normally will kind of chime in and talk, but I'm so intrigued by just your story and your strength and your courage and your tenacity that this was truly a moment where I was like, just have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have at it, because you are speaking to people these days. And so what has been or was your turning point where you knew that these moments are hard, right? I know your baby boy is really what kept you going, but what was that turning point where you said, you know what, I have to shift this mindset?
Actually, I think I had my first real awakening, if you
Mm,
will, maybe in 2021. 2021 was the year of me actually having the surgeries, going to recovery, and it kind of felt like, okay, I'm free now. I can,
yeah, yeah.
I don't have to be tied down. But once I was actually feeling like, that part was over, it was still, what do I do now?
Mm,
Because at this point now, I have a new identity. I
yeah,
have a new story. I'm definitely not the same person that I
yeah,
was.
yeah,
And, I had to figure out what next. And at that moment, I think that I had to acknowledge my feelings.
mm,
I pushed every grief that I had
yeah,
under the rug.
mm,
When I got burned, under the rug, smiling, company. I mean, just everybody never even saw me cry. Like, I'm
yeah,
just under the rug. Um, my son's father, when he passed, under the rug. I never really cried until the moment I heard the news and the funeral, and it was never like a boo-hoo. It was
yeah,
just, I knew I had to have that baby. I needed to be healthy, so I didn't have time to be sad.
yeah, yeah,
And when I got burned, I have things to do. Like, I have to keep moving. I can't get stiff. I have to, like, I didn't have time to be sad.
yeah,
And everything that I thought that I was just conquering just so strongly, it came back to bite me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it bit me so bad to where even COVID came around and everything started to shut down, and I had to sit in it. Like,
yes,
I had no
yes,
choice. Like, I could not run from it. I had to
yeah,
sit there and understand that this is something that's hurting me.
yeah,
And I grieved.
yeah, yeah,
I grieved. I mean, I had days, just like you said, I could be good for a minute. I could see something on the TV that just breaks my heart,
yes,
or
yes,
hear a song that breaks my heart. I just completely shattered.
yeah,
But I knew that I had to learn to understand myself
yeah,
more. And
yeah,
once I started to learn to understand myself more and listen to myself and actually, say, this is what I'm feeling right
yeah,
now, and
yeah,
sit in that and understand it, it
mhm,
allowed me to know that, okay, I'm sad.
yeah,
Now, what I'm going to do since I'm sad?
mhm, yeah,
Or why am I sad, and how I'm going to fix the sadness? It
yeah,
allowed me to, go forward with that. So, really just understanding my feelings and
yeah,
sitting in that allowed me to just, move forward.
yeah, yeah. If you all heard nothing else, and I know you heard a lot, it is sit in it, right? So that you can realize it's relearning yourself, right? It's really understanding what are some of those triggers. It's understanding, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling. It's understanding, why am I sad, right? And understanding that just because I am going through this doesn't make me the victim, but yet the victor. And allowing yourself to grasp and fully understand all of the things that have happened. And so I commend you for doing that, because I was going to ask you, right? Your strength, it comes from somewhere. And you are a woman. It just didn't sound like you truly had an opportunity to just sit, right? Sit still. You were instead on the go, right? I can't. And so I needed to ask you that, and you answered that question for me. And so my question now for you is, how are you today?
Today, the air is not feeling as thick as
Yeah,
it used to.
yeah,
I'm able to, I mean, just even just getting emotional now is like, I
yeah,
know that it's okay, you
yeah.
know?
It really is. It is. It is okay. It is okay to cry. It is okay to all of the emotions that you felt then. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to
And
feel
it's
them.
crazy because everybody's like, you the strong friend, you the strong friend,
I
and
don't want that title
I'm
no more.
ugh. And it's like, girl, I be in this room crying.
Right. It's okay, right? Like I
I
don't
be
want
in
it
this
no more.
room, and but it
Yeah.
feels like that's how I shed the weight. It's
Yes.
just,
Yes.
releasing
Clean.
it. And I mean, I feel so much more, encouraged for
Mm,
me,
mm,
even
mm.
sometimes when I kind of get a little doubtful, because
Yeah.
like I even want to get in front of the camera more and I want to speak more and,
Yeah.
I want to do things. And sometimes I get shy away, but I know now, like, I feel so much more eager to
Yes.
do it.
Mm.
I feel like um it's like one of those things where I feel like God is kind of like dangling a
Yeah.
prize and he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but you gotta come get it, and it's like, do I wanna? It's one of those kind of things. But I just feel so much more now that I can do it,
You can.
and if I reach out there, if I scrape my knee, oh well,
Mm,
I've
mm.
been through a ton of things that,
Yes. Yes.
people always say, I can't imagine. And that's one of the things that I want to kind of just print on, because I saw that a lot around the time when I was going viral, that
Yeah.
people would say, um, I can't imagine what you're going through. And I just probably say that this happened to me and it's nothing compared to what you went
Mm.
through. And it's, like mine doesn't even amount to the pain that you have.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always stop people when I hear them say that, because it doesn't matter if
Yeah.
mine seems bigger than yours. It still happened to you. And it still
Absolutely.
happened to me. And it's still
Absolutely.
something that we have to actually know that that's written on our story.
Yes, it
And
is.
that doesn't mean that you have to compare your hurt to
Yes.
someone else's and
Yes.
belittle yours. No,
Yes.
it's your story. And now I feel so much better that I feel like I can not only just tell my story to other people,
Yes.
but every time I speak to someone, I
Yes.
am pouring into them, even
Mm,
if it's
mm.
just saying a few words. So
Yeah.
that was what makes me my most happiest. So right now, I say we're about an 8 out of 10.
I love it, right? I love it. And
Yes.
let's also acknowledge that even in those times if you're not, it's
Yeah.
okay, right? I always say, and I don't want that strong friend title anymore, right? It's always check on your strong friends. I don't want that title anymore.
Yeah.
But I will say just continue to do the work that you are doing. Just like I tracked you down because I was like, right, and even when I typically speak and interview individuals, I walk with you. I walked away with a blessing that I didn't anticipate walking away with. Right, I walked in and I was like, man, I can't. I look forward to hearing her story. Right, I look forward to hearing her impact and her being able to pour into my audience. But what I didn't expect was to walk away, run down and tell my husband, "Oh my goodness, you have got to," because you're the same age as my bonus babies, right? I still call them my babies, but my bonus babies. And your level of just again, your level of strength, I had to run down and I was in awe. And you blessed me that day. You really, really did. And so I thank you, right? I truly just thank you for being present and being able to do that and truly being able to pour into those that will hear your message. And for those individuals that are thinking about giving up and thinking about, I can't do this and I can't move forward. Whatever it is, we are beautifully in our presence, right? We are, no matter how flawed you might think it is, you are beautiful. And you put one foot in front of the other and you keep going. And there is no such thing as I can't, but you will,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I will. And so I thank you. I need people to know where they can find you. And I need you to get on that TikTok because
Yeah.
TikTok is where I found you, right?
Yes.
And where I was like, wait a minute, let me find her. I know she was like, who is this chick? And she keeps sending me messages. And I was like, I need to talk to you.
Yeah, there were so many coming in, and just so happened I checked my requests,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when you start to have like so much traffic, you have like spams and stuff
I
like
know,
that.
right? I
And then
know,
I
I
just
know.
so happened to go, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like,
Yeah.
podcast, I would love to, because I think I had did like 2 before and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I hope I get to do these more. And then, once I went to your page and actually saw more
Yeah.
that you are a life coach, and,
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
so much more meaning to it, my spirit just drawn to it. And,
Yeah.
we have been trying to do this, you guys,
I know,
for
right?
like a few weeks now. Unfortunately, I had to have my last surgery, so that kind of, got in the way of us. And then
Yeah.
we had to reschedule. But I could not pass up on seeing
Yeah.
your face
Yeah.
again, and a lot of my friends were like, you got this podcast interview. Do you know her? I said, I have no idea who she
I have
is.
no idea who she is.
I have no idea. I was like, but I spoke to her and we
Yeah.
introduced ourselves, and it was good. It was good
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
It felt welcoming. And
Yeah.
so I have to thank you too, because,
Right.
when you interact with people that, make it more comfortable for you,
Yeah.
it's easier. So, just thank you for
Yeah.
still trying to find me. I don't call it creeping, okay?
That's
Find
okay.
me, okay? Find me. I'm trying to be found.
That's
So,
okay.
so yes, I definitely appreciate it. But you guys can follow me on any social media at Markela Lachelle. I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram, and
Yes.
you can see me there. Hopefully, I'm very, 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 very hoping that I will build my courage more to get on YouTube and start things. So
Whatever
yeah.
I can do to help you, honey.
Yes.
Whatever I can do. But everybody, and I mean everybody, needs to hear this message, right? They need to hear your voice and just your beauty that
Thank
exudes.
you.
Because when I tell you, when you said, "Am I still pretty?" and I want to say I saw something similar on TikTok, and I'm sorry I keep saying it, but it was just because at that moment I was like, I wish I had the level of courage she had, right? When I was in the middle of my valley. But no, I thank you so very much. Once you all please make sure that you follow on TikTok and Instagram. And so definitely you will be blessed just like I was. Again, I really thank you for blessing us with your presence. I'm Latisha B. Russell, trauma informed coach and speaker and author. And this might not be the last time that we speak, right? We
No,
just
no,
know
no.
that
Hopefully the next time it will be in person.
I know, right? I
Yes.
know we will make it happen. We would don't threaten me with a good time. Look, don't
Listen,
threaten me
I
with a
love
good
a good
time.
look. I love a good time. I
Don't
love
threaten
meeting new
me.
people. I'm
Yes.
friendly, okay?
We good. We
I
got that.
love it.
We're gonna make it happen. So I thank you, and I look forward to more. And be on the lookout for some more communication from me.
Yes.
All right. Mm-mm. Have a good night.